I don't have a good memory of the beginning, but we had this project to work on plastic pollutions, so different aspects locally, and then we had a colleagues who contact Simon in 2021 to have a speech in our regular executive committee meeting, and then it was complex with the COVID and so on, and they keep in touch, and we start the project later on, step by step. For Delfingen, we are a family-owned company, and one of our main values is responsibility. So you have to be conscious of your act have some consequences. And we are transforming plastic since 70 years now, and we cannot be blind of the plastic pollution. So it's a good product, we are working with it, but we have to fight the plastic pollution. It's a key point for the next generations. So it's part of our responsibility as a transformator to work on this subject.
Our motto at Plastic Odyssey is really to try to clean up the past by improving waste management, especially in low to middle income countries, to avoid the plastic that has been produced so far to go into the environment, but also to build a future where we use less plastic, especially all the single-use plastic, the packaging we don't really need. So it's really the two actions that drives us, cleaning up the past by recycling, but also building a future by raising awareness and educating children. So the first action is to find a way to turn something that has very low value, the plastic waste, nobody wants it. It's not like metal, like copper. It's something that has really almost no value today. And so the challenge, if you want this plastic to be collected, is to find a way to turn it into something useful, to add enough value so that we can create a local economies and create jobs, so help people make a living by collecting this plastic and turning it into a new material, a new product. So that's the main challenge, is how do we find a business model, a viable business model for these small social businesses so that it doesn't require subsidize our money and it can run, it can be self-sufficient in a way.
We started to measure our CO2 emission and plastic consumption. Plastic consumption is really easy for us. CO2 emission, the conversion of our usage of electricity, transportation, and so on. So we are committed, based on the COP21, to reduce our CO2 emissions. And for the plastic pollutions, we have different ways. The first approach is to minimize all the scrap, saying using the less raw material as possible. Second, that is very difficult in the automotive, it's to include as much as we can recycle plastic, already fine-tuned by the different raw material makers. And we launch this year a full portfolio of our catalog with full plastic recycled materials. So we have different kind of product internally. One are quite easily to produce with recycled material. It's thick components made by plastic molding. Two are much more difficult, plastic tubes. It's very difficult because it's a very thin plastic process and recycled plastic is not matching all the requirements. And textile sleeves, so we have to find the perfect yarns that are used from recycled plastic. It's key. If we have 4 degrees temperature on average increase, some location will be not livable, so there were more fight, conflict, tension worldwide. And secondly, plastic pollution. Nobody knows what will be the impact on our brain, bodies, and all the animal situations. So it's part of our responsibility. We are user, we have to take care of it.
Yeah, for us, it's the core mission of Plastic Odyssey is to try to find a way to reduce the impact of ocean pollution, especially plastic pollution. We are now seeing, looking at the latest scientific reviews, that there is a direct link between plastic and climate and carbon emission. 65% of the waste, plastic waste today, is being burned openly. So that emits a lot of CO2, and that's something I think even didn't think about at the beginning of Plastic Odyssey. We were just focusing on the impact of plastic pollution on the ocean and biodiversity, the impact on human health. But now we also see that there is a big impact on carbon emission, and that recycling it and avoiding it to be burnt could be a really good way to cut CO2 emission as well. So there's this big mission and ambitious mission to create local recycling economies that will benefit small communities, empower local entrepreneurs, and help recycle this waste. But there's also a big impact we want on the youngest generation, especially because what we say is that one child can educate 6 adults. So it's important to really raise awareness on the youngest, but also consumers in general, to help change behaviors and reduce the use of plastic. So that's also the big impact we want, pushing people to buy less plastic and to change a bit their habits.
We created a foundation in 2007. Initially, it was a family-fund foundation to help and to support, I will not say to help, to support the children of our colleagues locally, because we are implemented in 24 locations in 22 countries, most of the time in underdevelopment countries like Philippines, Honduras, and so on. And the situation around of this family is sometimes we have some ethic questions. And so we created this foundation to support the people, because it's not the mission of the company. A company must be profitable to be sustainable. And the mission of the foundation is to support the locals. So we have scholarship programs, we have education programs, we have health program, and so on. And one key situation is, as Simon mentioned, it's our environment, because for most of them, it's not important, but it's key. It's key for the future. It's a mid-long-term vision that we have to implement first. And it's why we had this pillar in the foundation, environment.
So the model of the small-scale factory we are building is about a capacity of 300 tons each year and 20 jobs created per factory. And one factory is about the size of 1 to 2 containers, maritime containers. So it's a rather small unit that can be implemented everywhere. And one small factory can treat the equivalent of 10,000 consumers, people, so small cities. So you can imagine having many small containers like that everywhere to be able to treat all the waste produced.
Never give up.
And I think stay connected, because that's just the beginning of an amazing journey we are building here in the Philippines with these 2 first micro factories. And we are really hopeful for the future to see more and more plastic being collected, transformed into useful product, and have less plastic in the ocean also.
It's important. It's a very big task to start and to continue. So we have to start from one point and to increase it step by step.